"Sir, I'm going to need you to step back." The officer's voice was calm but firm, hand resting on the holster at his side. The area in front of the Sunoco gas station was sealed off with yellow police tape, a small crowd forming behind the barriers. Red and blue lights pulsed against the cracked pavement. The old man stood just past the crowd, staring blankly. His clothes were dusty, a torn canvas bag slung over one shoulder. His lips were cracked from dehydration, but his eyes held something fierce. Not anger, not pain, judgment. The young reporter beside the tape turned her camera away from the chaos and focused on him. She'd seen him earlier. So had everyone. He was the man they'd brushed past, ignored, or, in one case, laughed at. The same man who just a few hours earlier had stood trembling in front of the station's mini-mart door, asking for water. And now, the sun was merciless, burning down on the cracked sidewalks of South Monroe Avenue. The old man shuffled slowly, leaning heavily on his walking stick. He wore a faded flannel shirt and weathered jeans, his boots covered in dust. He hadn't eaten since yesterday morning, and his throat felt like sandpaper. He reached the Sunoco station just after noon. A wave of heat shimmered off the concrete as he walked past the pumps. Inside the glass storefront, the air conditioning hummed, and rows of cold drinks glistened behind the cooler door. He opened the glass door and stepped inside. The cashier, young, tattooed, chewing gum, barely looked up from his phone. The man approached the counter slowly. "Excuse me," the old man rasped. I'm real thirsty. Can I please get a bottle of water? I don't have money, but I can sweep or..." The cashier didn't even blink. "Nah, store policy. You gotta buy it." "I understand. Just a small bottle, please. Just water." "Not my problem, Pops." He gestured toward the sign taped to the register. No handouts, no exceptions. The old man's hand tightened on his cane. He looked toward the water cooler, then back at the cashier. "I fought for this country," he whispered, almost to himself. "What?" the cashier snapped. "Nothing." He turned and left, the door swinging behind him with a jangle. A group of teenagers at Pump 6 watched him walk back into the heat. One of them laughed. "Get a job, old-timer." The man didn't answer. He just kept walking, eyes fixed on the sidewalk, pride holding up what strength, hunger, and heat had already drained. 2 hours later, the same gas station buzzed with impatient customers and the low hum of Top 40 radio. The cashier still scrolled on his phone, leaning against the counter. The delivery guy came in, dropping off boxes of soda. A woman argued with her toddler in the snack aisle. Outside, a silver Dodge Charger idled near Pump 3, its driver glancing at the store, then checking his rear view. No one noticed the black sedan that pulled up to the side of the station. No one noticed the two men in dark hoodies who stepped out, moving with quiet purpose. Not until the gunshots, population pop pop. Screams erupted inside the station, glass shattered. People hit the floor. The woman with the toddler threw herself over her child. The cashier dove behind the counter, too shocked to scream. The gunmen didn't speak. They moved with brutal efficiency into the register, out with the cash, one of them shouting something unintelligible. By the time sirens wailed in the distance, the sedan was gone. And inside the store, behind the shattered snack display, the cashier bled from his side, whimpering. The old man stood just beyond the police tape now, watching as EMTs carried the cashier out on a stretcher. He hadn't moved in 10 minutes, not since the officers arrived, not since someone pointed at him and said, "That guy was here earlier." Tried to beg for water. Officer Daniels approached him cautiously. "Sir, are you okay?" The old man didn't look away from the scene. "I told him," he said quietly. "Told him I served. Told him I was thirsty." Daniels nodded slowly. "Did you see what happened here?" "No," the man replied. But I knew it was coming. Daniels raised an eyebrow. What do you mean? The old man finally turned. His eyes weren't wild, they were weary, sad. There are two kinds of desperation, officer. The kind that begs for water, and the kind that takes it by force. This city's full of both. People turn their backs, say, not my problem. But eventually, it becomes everyone's problem. The reporter who had been filming all day quietly lowered her camera. A paramedic handed the old man a bottle of water, cold, condensation beading on the plastic. Here, she said softly, you need this more than most. He took it, drank it slow. The first sip made his eyes water. The gas station remained closed that evening, police tape fluttering in the breeze. Word spread fast. Local news aired clips of the robbery, blurry footage from security cams. Interviews followed. He just wanted a drink. I saw him walking past my shop every morning. He didn't deserve that. The cashier survived, but his arrogance didn't. In his hospital bed, he asked the nurse if the old man was okay. She didn't answer. Across town, at the local shelter, the old man sat in a clean bed. A volunteer handed him a warm plate of food. You've got people looking out for you now, she said. Someone donated a month's meals in your name. No idea who. Just said you earned it. He nodded slowly, setting the plate down. What's your name? She asked. Walter, he replied. Walter Briggs? The same name engraved on the rusting dog tags he kept in his coat pocket. Later that night, the reporter sat at her desk, typing the final line of her segment. We are a society that celebrates heroes after we've forgotten them. But maybe today, someone will remember. Remember that kindness doesn't cost a thing. But indifference, that cost shows up eventually. Sometimes in sirens, sometimes in tape. She clicked save. Then she opened a new tab, searched for the nearest shelter. The next morning, she brought 2 cases of water, just in case another Walter walked through the door. Moral of the story. A simple act of kindness may cost you nothing, but ignoring someone in need might cost far more than you realize. Choose compassion before circumstance forces you to learn its value.